minutes after 7. That piece is like you want to take a holiday. So yeah, we can bring it back the whole time and you will not be bored. That's a beautiful piece put together right there. But let's talk about something which is also very much pressing, which is, if you like, related very much to security. Now we have an alert in the country. You're being asked to be curious, to be vigilant, and report anything that you think is out of place to the security agencies. We're talking cybercrime. You know, these days people can even use your name, your pictures, and create another Facebook account or something of the sort. Right. How do you fight all these things? And then continuously we have these prank news websites or portals, and sometimes we think their news is like 100% the truth, and we start beginning to act on them. That's our conversation now, and I'm happy that my guest is joining me, Mr. Albert Entry-Boisiakon. He's a cybersecurity expert and the founder of E-Crime Bureau. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Marie. Good morning.
How have you been?
Excellent. Everything has been okay. Good.
Mm-hmm. But let's first of all touch on this national security alerts now.
Correct.
Not only because this is Ghana, but it's a West African issue, and we are part of West Africa, so this is very much our problem too.
Correct.
Should we be afraid to step out?
Well, afraid I wouldn't say we should be. Terrorism shouldn't thrive. And remember, there's a country, there's a time we need to come together. The alert coming out from the security agencies is expected, and it's quite rational in security sense. If you look at what is happening, prevailing in our sub-region, the Mali, Burkina Faso, and recently Ivory Coast. In this case, I think it makes sense that the states, put certain measures in place in terms of stepping up our security. We cannot predict as to the next place when this terrorists will be attacking us. Mm-hmm. So it's good that certainly we alert ourselves, our citizens, to ensure that we should go about our duties, we should go out and have fun, we should use our malls, we should use our hotels, but we should be vigilant. What do I mean by vigilant? You might be a taxi driver, you've been hired, to drop somebody at one of the hotels. Those persons might be carrying certain items. Their communication might be suspicious to you. What do? You might decide not to, or maybe alert the police. This is one way of being vigilant. Mm. The other way is just an individuals. People just come across as, okay, it might be a rental agency. We want to rent this vehicle. You shouldn't just look at the money that these guys are going to pay. If you look at what happens in France, what happened? Mm. They actually rented a vehicle and then use it. They won't use their personal vehicle to do that because they will be, tracked. So these are some of the ways that we should be vigilant as to, being aware of the terrorists that is going around us. So, we can't say we won't go out. There's nothing to fear about. It's more of we being vigilant as citizens, and I think that is what the state is trying to communicate to the citizens. Yeah.
But in a sense, that's also a very difficult thing for us to do, because the typical traditional Ghanaian has been free, welcoming, happy, we're least suspicious of other people when we go out. So how do we begin to make the shift? And who do we even tell when we think something is... Because, now people don't even want to go to the police station to go and report a case because they will say, write a statement. So this one, do you write a statement, or do you just tell the policeman, listen, I've seen somebody enter the shop and I think, you should check him out?
I think you are right to say our culture, our thinking, our attitudes haven't really favored security collaboration between citizens and the state. Elsewhere in Europe, you have this old women and men in their houses. When they spot somebody in the neighborhood who doesn't live in the neighborhood, they will quickly alert the police, and the police will come over. It's more of intelligence. It's not a complaint. So when you give such information, to the police, I think you need to, the police know, at least as far as I'm aware, they know that certain information has to be treated purely as intelligence information. And there are cases that they will also ask you to write a statement. So in this case, if you suspect somebody, oh, I've seen this person here, they're a group of 3 people, they carry certain items that I suspect might be what? Guns. Please, I just wanted to alert you, based on the information which has come out from the National Security Council meeting, I don't think any policeman will say, come and write
a statement.
Otherwise, that policeman should be reported to the IGP to be disciplined. Absolutely. I don't think that is a rule of engagement when it comes to policing and collaboration with citizens. So I think that cause needs to be, the citizens should feel free. Yes, there are challenges. You rightly mentioned. We might be playing with terrorists, but we might not even be able to notice it. We think it's a foreigner who has come in. It might even be a citizen, remember, not just foreigners who act as. Terrorists might be using our own Ghanaians to perpetrate that. We should also listen to people's conversation. We are close to each other. It might be what people are posting on Facebook. People's attitudes might have changed. Their wording, their posturing, all those things will have to be, the vigilance also has to be not just a physical space, but even our relationship with individuals that we suspect might be, used by terrorists to carry out an attack against our lives.
I think it's interesting you bring social media into the conversation. Are agencies, our security agencies, aware of social media? And when I say aware of social media, not just know about its existence, but how smart and effective it could be used for actions, like
Correct.
terrorism.
Mama B, I would say yes. Yes means we had an experience when we have a young Ghanaian here who joined the terrorist group, through the social media.
No, we were told I think on social, it's been all around on social media that he's been killed or something. Yeah.
Well, I think we may have to verify that whether he's been killed or not.
I'm just
That's
saying what social media is reporting.
Right, it's very true. But in terms of our agencies being aware, certainly that's the next stage of dealing with criminality all over the world. If you study the terrorism here, of course, that gives them the platform for communication, for training, for recruitment. They wouldn't have to come here to send training materials. And our agencies are aware. Just to share this with you, Kofi Annan Peacekeeping Training Center recently organized a 2-week training program on counterterrorism. I think it came at the right time. The course just finished before this alert actually came up. And there was a component on cyber terrorism where military officers and security agency officers are being trained on the techniques being used by terrorist organizations in terms of social media or cyber application technologies to communicate. And certainly what I'm seeing is the security agencies are also situating themselves within the cyberspace. Remember, policing was done more in the physical space, but then with the introduction of technology, we've seen that paradigm shift where policing are also situating themselves. You might not have a police officer in a remote district in Ghana being adept in tracking criminals on social media. No, but then when you come to the police headquarters, when you come to the cities, capacities are being built, to address that issue. Aside, our national agency, the BNI, and.
But we're not. It's not too late. I mean, are we not, lagging behind, if you like?
Well, with that, I might say perhaps we haven't done faster the way I would like to see. But by the way, we also know the actions of agencies are normally dictated by the actions of the criminals. I haven't seen most of the time where our agencies are stepping up. In other words, leading the game before the criminals come over. It hasn't never happened. You normally have to pick one way or the other that a criminality is being committed using this platform, using the social media. Then you have your security agency stepping in, coming in to also address the problem. Perhaps one way to do is to be smarter, to be faster, and to be able to predict the next area where terrorists are going to operate. And I've always been mentioned, cyber terrorism is another area, is a new area that agencies will have to give a major focus on. We need to study, once again, conduct research. We need intelligence as to which platforms. There are several platforms that even the criminals are pretty much aware, and they are using them. So the idea is to situate our policing on these platforms, and then we'll be able to track communications, their engagement with terrorist groups, to be able to address the problems. Okay.
We've opened a website here. This is screwlive.com, and these are two headlines that I can read. Breaking news, okay, Adonko petitions 2016 presidential debate to be held strictly in Chi. There's also another story. Hassan Ayariga submits application for UN General Secretary position. Bishop Bobini must resurrect the Presbyterian, his car knocked dead, the pedestrian his car knocked dead, else he's a fraud. That's according to Kweku Wansam.
Right.
You know, the thing about this is that these are not true stories, and we find a lot of these stories on social media. We find a lot on Facebook. We find people forwarding details of such stories on WhatsApp. My issue is, it's very possible to mix the true story with what is not true because of how active social media is. Correct?
Correct. Mama, I would like to congratulate you. That's a major discovery. Did you find the site yourself? If you did find the site yourself, that is very good. That means
but the sites, you know, people post things from this site, even though when you open the site itself, they will tell you that these are not real news.
All right.
But people post their stories, and people think that it's true.
It's true. Once again, I would like to look at the legal basis of this, and then we can do the argument from there. It is a criminal offense under the Electronic Transaction Act to put information which is not, which is false, which is not, you know.
But when you have when you have the disclaimer.
Well, the fact is, we are more interested, you know, the CID will be interested in who put that information there. It's impersonation. It is not the fact. Okay, it's not a question of disclaimer. Look, some of those things could have a potential. Well, unless you tell me it's a political humor that people trying to what?
Yeah, but that's the whole idea. Okay, Patrick Gomez, my director this morning, please click on the disclaimer. Let's see exactly what they've written. And in the world of cybersecurity, is this acceptable? So, you know, the point is, how do we, and I've been on, maybe it's not a major complaint for me yet, but I've been worried a bit. People think that these stories are real.
Well, I think over here, we also need to look at, of course, for me, that is a danger. When you are operating in a community where people are disclaimer, how many people even go and check the disclaimer? People are just interested in looking at the stories. And the fact is, this story might be linked to other websites. The moment they put their social media, it goes round. Nobody had a chance to read the disclaimer. So there's a potential danger. People believing this is what a real news, of course. Now, what does the media and National Media Commission, what are the guidelines? What does it also say about? Does it treat the issues on social media or online publications? I have my issue with that. I need to see a comprehensive guidelines, you know, that regulate the media, putting information on the media platform. This is not the only issue. Remember, I think we spoke here about the South African uprising, what happened in the South African when fictitious images were published, even by traditional media side. So I think on the legality, the content, if it's fraudulent, so to speak, could be treated, you know, as a criminal matter. For example, if any of the people involved here makes a complaint to the police will treat this as a criminal offense, as a matter of fact.
Yeah?
Absolutely. Because
even though they've written that screwlive.com is a satire, parody, and spoof website, all articles contained within its website, however, similar to real events, are fictitious, presumably fake news.
This is where I would like to know what the National Media Communication Guidelines says about this. Absolutely, because the CID won't just look at the legality or illegality of the publication. But is he allowed by the regulators of the media? Because this side is pretending to be a media organization, sort of. If you are sharing information or publishing, so they have to be. What is the rules governing the treatment of, satire messages or content? We need to come out clearly.
Yeah.
Is the content very offensive to any of the characters or any of the personalities there, like a Yariga? Perhaps, is he offending him and his political ambitions? Is there any way a threat to, all those questions will have to be asked. It's not just, putting a disclaimer and saying that this is just, to make laugh. But whoever is involved is being represented, or is being misrepresented in that story. Does it have any potential to cause harm? Not just harm, the chances of winning a presidential election, example, he could make a claim against such people. So not just the information, but we need to look at the elements, the people who are involved.
My worry is because some of these sites, and we're not just putting School Life on the fore, but there are other websites, like that. My fear is because it's in the name of we're joking, somebody could put a story out and say a terrorist has been arrested, or there's an action happening here or something like that, and everybody will believe it's true.
Moabi, I would like to say there is a lot of indiscipline on our social media in Ghana. I have to make it very clear. What do I mean? There was even a time when somebody posted information on social media about Nigerians being arrested with AK-47. The police had to come out and issue really a counter statement. I mean, you can't treat that as a joke. An information which has a potential to cause panic among the population, no. Right, so we need that balance. And as I'm saying, there should be, I want to see Media Commission taking action on this. Go together where, for example, look at the comments when the story is posted. Look at the comment that people are posting. I mean, absolutely, it's beyond the bar. So we need to, I think it's good, this thing needs to be brought into the mainstream discussions, and let's develop some guidelines around them. It will help us to really identify what ought to be published in this manner and ought not to. So, for example, we have to pick a particular content like this, a particular news item, and then examine them from factual perspective, which we won't get it. But has the story got any potential to create fear or panic, to harm somebody, to misrepresent somebody, to put somebody in a bad light? You can't, if the answer is yes, there should be a checklist sort of. And I expect the Media Commission to develop that checklist so that when a complaint is received on the side like this, they could also be punished. Similar to the media, which punish, the traditional media, which punish news items, which publish news items, and if they are out of place, they are punished.
Okay. Not to cut you, but a stranger for now has joined us via Skype, but he's also a personal friend and one of the good guys. Amaya Deborah, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Amaya, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you clearly. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, loud and clear. So Amaya has got a website, one of the very famous websites, amayaldeborah.com. And Amaya, I'm curious, how do you, because we're talking about cybercrime here, how do you prevent people from using your site to do things that are against the law, for instance?
It's difficult to monitor, but I think the easier way that somebody can have access to it is maybe like your guest suggested, through panel commenting. And if I see such elements in my comments, I remove it. I block it as spam and stuff like that. But altogether, it's quite difficult to monitor and know what people are trying to use it for, because my site is not like an open forum where people are able to have access and do what they like. And so the only time people get access to it is when they're leaving comments and stuff like that. Yeah.
I know that you also snoop around for stories. You pick stories from other sites. Now we have a lot of spoof websites who, you know, they publish stories that are not true. How do you sieve through?
Well, I think most of the time I leave it to good judgment. Some of the stories are just ridiculous, and there's something in there that will let me know whether it is proof or not. I think I generally have a good sense of what is accurate and what is not, and so anytime I'm calling stuff from I would hardly ever call a spoof article on my website. However, I manage a news website which is yam.com.gh, and some of my editors have sometimes fallen short of that because they have published some of the false news, the fake news, and anytime, the moment it comes up, even before it becomes general that it's fake, I tell them that this story doesn't look real. Look for more accurate sources, and then they remove it, and then eventually we get to hear that it was fake or it came from somewhere. I think generally these stories, when you read the headlines, when you read through the lines, you can tell that something is not accurate about it, and then you remove it. I generally I have a good sense of humor, so I like these things, especially the ones that would make you laugh. If there's that element of humor in it and it's very clear, I pardon it absolutely.
I think the bigger problem has been, how do we help the ordinary person who may not know that this is not true realize that, yes, indeed, this is fake?
Well, it's going to be difficult, especially the kind of society we live in. People don't even read. They just read the headlines and then they believe it. And I think audience maturity is very key. And I think we've all gone through school and we should be able to read and understand what we are reading. But majority of the people don't do that, and they are the gullible ones. And there's very little we can do about that. There are stories that have come out that are false, and people have gone out to say they are false, but there are still people who believe it because they are not paying attention and all that. So it's going to be difficult to create it in the mind that this is not true, or that believe this or don't believe it. It depends on the reader themselves.
Okay. Amaya, thanks for joining us for now. We really appreciate your perspective. Is there something that you wanted to say?
Well, I think he's doing a good job here. I like the fact that at least he is taking ownership of the site. In other words, he's moderating the site to take out the content which is deemed not acceptable. And I think this is the practice to go within the community, the cyber community. These are the ways that they need to. We should show certain responsibility beyond the law. And I'm happy this young man is at least, working hard to make sure such content are not put on the site. Otherwise, it's going to damage his hard work. Because if it's not true, it has a content that has a potential to, harm somebody. Absolutely, it's not. Putting disclaimer on the website, that's something. Perhaps it tells the reader, I don't know, I'm not sure as to what is there. But it doesn't, you the owner of the site, it doesn't take that liability from you when it comes to somebody taking criminal or civil action against you. Absolutely, you put it there. If evidence establishes that you put this content, then you have to answer. Where did you get the story? How did you authenticate the story before you put it there? So the disclaimer, that's something, but it doesn't really, protect them from the law. And as I'm saying, it is a criminal offense if you put such content and the element of criminality is established. At least civil liabilities, could be pursued against whoever put the content.
Let's bring this other issue in. You might be able to help us.
Right.
Somebody can take your pictures and create another, Facebook page. How is that?
Look, I think I want to take this opportunity also to warn the citizens. When you see a minister of state, a government official picture on Facebook with a Facebook account asking for a donation, for a project in the constituency or whichever, please don't do. Before you do, make sure you've made contact with the respective ministry or government agency or whichever organization. It is a common fraudulent activity going on in Ghana where public officials, whether police officers or ministers of state, ambassadors, profile pictures have been cloned. In some cases, the people who are being impersonated don't even have Facebook accounts. The fictitious one have been created because a public official is a minister, his pictures are all over the place. They put them up. Now, it is extremely difficult to police the cyberspace from this perspective. Facebook is certain in the US, and it has created a platform which allows anybody at all to put information, to create an account. And Facebook wouldn't ask you submit your passport for me to check whether indeed it's Mama B who is posting details. You just have to register. As long as you can tell them you are more than 18 years, you are allowed to have your registration done. And we're having a lot of impersonation going on. Some people also take pictures of other people just to create identity theft. It might be a young lady's picture who has been created, on a dating site, requesting for a partner, looking for a partner, or requesting for some sort of help. It is a bigger issue. Preventive measure is, we need to be vigilant when we are using such sites. And I've mentioned, if it's a public official, as I'm saying, most of these cases have come to us. We've managed to remove most of this fictitious document.
So if you are to report to the rights authorities, they can actually bring down the fake accounts.
Absolutely.
Okay.
We've been working hand in hand with the state agencies in terms of removing the content. If you have anyone, even if you report to our agency, we'll be able to help get them offline.
Okay. That's good news. Let's read some messages, and the messages I'm getting related to the general security where we started off the conversation, which is big on people's hearts. Mama V, it's unfortunate we can't do anything about this terrorist alarm. The only way we can actually combat this is to have policemen all over 24/7 days to be at a checkpoint at every 1 kilometer intervals with arms detective apparatus. This exercise must be started as soon as possible, and all cars on our roads, from pedestrian and all official vehicles down to trotro taxis and cycles, wherever, anywhere, whosoever may enter both our hospitals, schools, campuses, hotels, malls, and markets. Also, let's focus on the super bets lotteries, which has been springing up across the country. Most of these people are who patronize in that business are foreigners. This could keep a measure of security alerts in the country. Thank you. That's from Pakojo in Waja. This is very detailed, man. Would we not be scaring ourselves if we were to go all out 24 hours, 7 days in a week, 1 kilometer interval, checkpoints? This one says, good morning, Ibrahim Dinga in Kwando. Says, one thing that makes Ghanaians reluctant in terms of help to the security agencies is that they fear that they might be arrested as being part. Yeah, a lot of people would agree with you on this. This one says, terrorists, what do they gain from terrorism at all? It's from Black Hack in Krobo Odumase. The first, there was an earlier message that said, for security's sake, I think our police should work in collaboration with the military to enhance efficiency. The police who do not know how to fire warning shots always shoot innocent people. The military is best for our country. Black Hawk from Krobo Odumase. That's your opinion, but thank you very much for sharing. This one says, good work. Simply that. Thank you very much. There's a special invitation to us to visit Kakum National Park Rio this Easter. Al Fazari in Cape Coast. Okay, so Easter is just still around the corner. A lot of people will go to fun places. Should we still continue to have the normal fun, or this time around we should be extremely careful about something?
Well, I like the proposal being made by the first person, even in Kenya, where they are close to Al-Shabaab. You won't have this kind of checks going on. So that is not quite realistic for
I
our
think
country.
they even attacked a hotel that was heavily secured.
Absolutely. You know,
At least we
it's not-
thought.
It's not, exactly. So, you know, if you also do that, you create an impression that, look, Ghana is under terrorist attack. That's not the case. What the agencies have taken is more preventive, cautious measures, which they need to because of what is happening around us. Not that, you know, tomorrow we are expecting a terrorist attack. That is not the case. Now, going about Easter holidays, Mama V, I believe life should go on as normal as possible. All that we're telling the public is, please open your eyes. Those elements are all over the place. They are around us. They could be wherever you are. In this case, make sure that when you spot any unusual activity, for me, it's also a way to reshape the thinking, the traditional thinking of Ghanaians. So it's not really negative. The fact that we have relaxed so much when it comes to security, seriously, we have. And so, well, let's wake up a bit. We live in an age where the dark forces are also advancing, you know, their argument and their activities. So wake up. It is happening elsewhere. It could happen here. Let's look around. Let's be more cautious. Let's be very vigilant. It will help us to spot out most of those things, not just terrorists, but armed robbers who normally also take people, they mix up with people to commit all sorts of criminalities. So I would say, yeah, life should go on as normal as possible. But hey, let's wake up as Ghanaians. I think that's all the story is telling us about, because we've been, you know, we haven't been so active when it comes to looking around for security vulnerabilities around us. It's not. We don't see the security. We need to, you know, heighten our risk awareness level. That is all. And I think it will help us in progressing as a country. We need that.
All right. Hudi Enwa sends a beautiful message. Thank you very much, Hudi, you know, for your nice thoughts. This one says, please, okay, this is another issue that, you know, we discussed a bit earlier. We're dealing with the security matters. This one says, why the security threat now when we're already housing 2 potential terrorists who are even dangerous than those we are scared of? God save Ghana. That's from Dele in Aflao. That's your thoughts. Thank you very much. And somebody's sending me a story of somebody who has been gunned down, but I can't read the details because we've got to cross-check before we put that information out there, because we don't want to be scaring people this morning.
Right.
But thanks for the message. Okay. More messages on other issues that we reviewed a bit earlier in the day, but keep the messages coming through though. This one says, in fact, we Ghanaians need to be cautious about the way we continue to disseminate information about these terror attacks. From Abdul Razak in Tamale. This is the second time I'm getting something like this. Should we be afraid to condemn terrorism?
Well, if we are afraid to condemn terrorism, that means we are a nation of cowards. Ghana shouldn't be a nation of cowards. Our president has said it when the Turkish president came to the country. He stood by Turkish and condemned that. So there is evidence of, you know, our president actually standing hand to hand. Look at the messages that were sent to the Ivorian leader by both the president and the opposition, Nanado. So I don't think that is the philosophy of this country.
You know, some people think that the more you talk about them, you're like putting yourself out there, and then they're going to target you next.
I think that is not a pragmatic approach of addressing the problem. No, I think we confront some of this by talking about it, engaging about it, rather than not talking about it. It's just really, I mean, look at your neighbor has been targeted. What did those who were killed in that place at the beach, what wrong had they committed against attackers? I think it is not just a legal obligation, but it's also a moral obligation to condemn some of these acts. And I think it's fair. That has been the consensus globally, that every state, every individual, irrespective of your religious background, should be able to stand and condemn such acts. Certainly there could be legitimate issues that may trigger such activities, but absolutely there is no sin that should demand what? Killing as an answer. Even here, people have been put on death row. You know how many people have been sentenced to death? but it's still been left walking around. EU will tell you death sentence is not actually a response to people who have committed murder. And the whole European Union, nobody is killed when even those people have murdered their colleagues. It tells you a new consciousness that is emerging. So we can't justify. There is no justification for terror activities, especially when the action is targeting innocent civilians. That's the most barbaric aspect. You go around your life, look at you, as nice as you are, pleasant, communicating, sharing your wisdom with the public through the work that you're doing. You're going out there, somebody says, hey, I want to target terrorists, and you are killed. Can there be a justification for this? By this, I think we have a moral obligation as citizens to condemn terror acts. Absolutely.
Right. Let's share a few of your messages in wrapping up the conversation. Cedric Jr. in Georgia says, good morning, Mama V. Can you please ask your host what is being done about fraud guys in our respective communities, and what help can we offer to curb these things in our communities? Thanks for the message. This one says, in what capacity, okay, this one is on party politics. Please, the civilians should know that the police are also humans. I'm referring to what you just read, okay? Thanks for that message. This one says, we should not be afraid to condemn terrorism, but we should not exclusively target a particular group or religion. Hamdan in Savlugu. Very important. Thanks for the message. This one says, the issue of public awareness of consciousness, specifically with regards to terrorism, brings to fore the lack of a disaster management plan for the country. My focus would be the preparedness of educational institutions, which are prime targets. Do these institutions have a disaster management plan? Have they got strategies to respond to and deal with these threats? I know KNUST is preparing an emergency response plan or policy. What about the others? What education is going on to educate school children on what the vulnerability and risks are in their location and how to address them? More questions that need answers. KK in Kumasi, very, very important questions that you raised there. Really, really appreciate your contribution on the subject. Thank you. This is on the teachers issue. This one says, the president and the government should better change their mind and release the detainees to where they got them from. GM should learn to do things that will interest Ghana. Tengani Ali from Bulenga in Wa East sending that message. This one from Tamale says, in fact, this country is safe simply because of our friendly human relationships. Else, the security is just a name, but it does not exist. It's from M. Kamel in Tamale. Different views we're getting on the subject. Nanayao, aka Taylor from Edukrom in Kumasi, says, how do we trust you this time for our safety when people are still not safe because of Fulani attacks? It's easier said than done. Get serious with security issues and spares the vain assurances. And I think that this anger is certainly directed at the security agencies. As Samoa, you're in Kumasi. You sent me something. I've got to open it up and then watch before I can answer the question that you're asking. This person says military rule is the best. I think there was a question about people in the communities, the fraudsters in the communities, people who do things with the internets, who are still in the communities. How can? But you know that sometimes people know them.
Look,
people know them.
The police is having some challenges. This is not a defense whatsoever for the police. I'm happy the law enforcement agencies are also being, of course, pushed by citizens to really ensure that they feel safe. Security, once again, is not just what people think they are doing, but the recipient are citizens. So their views are absolutely necessary. And I think this is what the law enforcement should take it serious. Because if the citizens are not feeling secure, then it means that there are certain gaps that they need to address. This is very big, and I think we have to catch it. In terms of fraud, Mama V, our culture, once again, security is situated in a certain context, whether it's a cultural, social, political context. My analysis, if you compare European experience in those places, there are a lot of things that favors, it promoted. Somebody has purchased a vehicle, the person is not working, 4x4 vehicle. Normally from home, what do? Oh, come on. This is nice. It might be your boyfriend. Absolutely. Do you care as to where he got the money? He got the money. You got the right. Is it?
Sure. Sorry, I'll let you continue. Let me speak to Mike from Volga because we've
okay.
activated the lines for you to join us quickly on the subject. Hello, Mike. Good morning. Hello, Mike.
Good morning.
Yes, hi. Good morning, Mike. Thanks for joining us. Let's hear you.
Please, all I want to say is when viewers' comments are read on the social media and commentaries are saying it's indiscipline and what have you, I think we've given you the chances to make laws for us. So when it is not going on our favor, we have the right to pour our displeasure. So not to say viewers sometimes give indisciplined comments. It is what you do that will attract this comment. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Michael. You can also join us, 030221169102. Some people are also commenting on the fuel hikes. That will be in the next segment when we analyze this issue. But I think I cut you there from the food issue.
Correct.
So you're saying that sometimes we know that, okay, you're not working, you've just bought a car and blah, 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 blah. But the point is, I think it comes back to the issue of me, I should go and report for somebody to say that I did the reporting.
Well, that aspect is quite minimal. I mean, the police acts based on evidence. The police cannot just get you to jail without convincing evidence that you might be a partner to this. Of course, you might have facilitated this, but you live in a neighborhood, somebody is committing fraud. Here, once again, it's intelligence. Police, this is what I've established. This is what I've found in my locality. Whatever information you have, you provide to them. You say, if a policeman receiving such information and just put you behind bars, I don't think it's a professional practice. And the PIPs, please, professional, you need to be able to handle this. So when you go and make the complaint, also pick the details of whoever the policeman is. Put up the details. We need to. Somebody make sure, let the laws work. There is a channel for you to move. If those police that you have given this information to is mishandling the information or falsely getting you involved in an issue, there is a channel that you can go. Right. So I think the citizens should explore those channels as well. It will make the police also sit up, as a matter of fact. It's an engagement. Expect the police alone, they won't, as a matter of fact. But if this engagement comes up, you share information with them. Sometimes they might not even act. You can take it up to another level. And I know, there are few police officers who are not complying with the basic, service procedures, but there are also equal, amount of people, a large number of police officers who will also be able to deal with those issues when they receive them. So our obligation as citizens is to report the issues to the police, share with them. If they don't act on them, please pass on to the next level. The PIPs have got a contact. One day you might have to bring PIPs here for discussion in terms of how some of those issues could be channeled. How do they handle them? It's a way of making a citizen feel comfortable that when they meet the district officer or the police officer in their district and they act cases, where should we go? I think it's a possible question that you can bring them to discuss. To also comment on what my brother said, when I use the word discipline on the social media, we have to be very clear that the laws alone cannot fight cyber criminality. No. Otherwise, even in China, where a lot of restrictions are being done on their social media platforms, you need a human component. I keep on saying the technology infrastructure, the internet itself, is not bad. It's not malicious. It is a sense, malicious activities of people these things are transmitted onto that platform. In other words, you have your social evils, if I should use the word evils, and then you take them onto the internet, right? That's what is happening. Here, how do we, in other words, if we are building a cybersecurity, a secure cyberspace, what are the components? The legal aspect is one, the technical component is one, but also the user. We call something cyber hygiene. It is very important because Ghana is also a rule of law. We don't want a situation where, we have social media police, as is being done elsewhere. Imagine how life will be. Seriously speaking, I don't think we need to promote that. But let's make the people who use the social media to promote certain level of discipline. I use it in terms of usage.
Yeah, I think largely that's our philosophy, because the National Communications Authority will tell you that we have nothing to do with content. That's the NMC's duty. But we as regulators, content is not our business.
But
let me speak to somebody who's joining us from Koforidua. Nelson. Hello, good morning, Nelson. Thanks for your call.
Good morning, Mama V and your guest. Thanks so much for the good work you are doing. I just want to contribute to what you are discussing in terms of security and then these terrorist issues.
Sure, please do.
I just want to give a caution to Daniel that aside the security, we all should also be alert. Particularly coming this is that places that people normally gather in numbers. These terrorists, they normally look for places that they can welcome. So you have to very much alert. Going somewhere with the whole of your family and then other things, this is not going to augur well for us. So apart from the police, the military, or whatever it is, we should also be vigilant of citizens ourselves. We should not always put only our destiny. What about if you are in your own house, there is no policeman or military man around? Do you allow your security to be invaded? So I think it's also important, as we are hoping for the police and other security officers to do their part, we should also play our part as citizens of this country. We are not safe, particularly this is that we have to be extra vigilant. Thank you so much, Mama.
Thank you very much, Nelson, for your thoughts. Let me move over to Isaac, who's joining us from Tama. Hello, Isaac. Good morning. Isaac?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for calling. Let's hear you, please.
I like the show this morning, and I say thank you for the nice show. There's a guy who called about we should not target any particular group as a terrorist, but we need to face the fact, though. I'm in the United States, and we have this problem in America. And we all know those terrorists are from Muslim community. I'm not trying to say all Muslims are terrorists, but what I'm saying, we all know that it's only Muslims where the terrorists come from, because they use Quran and they want to impose Sharia laws on everybody. That is their goal, and that is why they're fighting for. So we're not going to target any Muslims, but we let people aware that these terrorists always come from the Muslims community. It's not the Christians. It's not the Hindus. It's not the other Christian churches. But we all know whenever they want to kill, they say Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar is a Muslim word. It's a word from
So in effect, what are you saying? I mean, I want you to land.
What I'm trying to say, when somebody says...
Okay, we seem to have lost you there, but I think we should get one thing clear, because was it last week or 2 weeks ago that we had some young Muslims, join us, and they're going on a series of education in their communities to get the young people together, because sometimes, we brand them and we make it look and sound like this is a Muslim thing, but they will tell you that the people who engage in these acts are not true Muslims.
Good.
I mean, there are bad people in every society. It's just unfortunate that sometimes you'd find that some of these people are coming from these places. So in as much as we're saying, let's be cautious, let's be vigilant, let's open our eyes and things like that, I think we should not be skewed towards just one kind of group, because I think the example, the thing that happens in Nigeria, for example, should tell you that sometimes these suicide bombers have nothing to do with religion. But let me go to Kumasi. We have somebody else on the line. Albert, good morning. Hello, Albert.
Good morning.
Yes, good morning, Albert. Let's hear you.
Yes, Mama V, God bless you for what you are doing. Now, what I want to say is that our leaders the security shouldn't politicize their activities and whatever that they are doing. Because, like somebody just sent to you about this Fulani issues and all that, sometimes even we, the citizens, can even use our normal understanding to say that at least this and that is supposed to be done. But if it is not going that way, at the end of the day, the citizenry also lose some kind of confidence and trust within the security. So somebody also said that it is fearful for you to give a notice or information to the police, and you might not know again what will happen to you, the person who is a whistleblower. You see, so I think that when you live with somebody and you find it difficult to trust a person, sometimes your life is even at risk because you don't know when the person is telling you the rightful thing for you to do, because already the trust is gone. It's like husband and wife living together and there's no trust. You don't even know what you are doing. So I think that the security people should beef up and then make sure that whatever happens, they come clear with the citizens for them to understand, and also education, like you are doing now. How many media stations are also doing it? In Ghana, when it happens like this, it's because it's in the newspapers. Everybody's talking about it, and then Akida and all these things that is going on because of what has happened to our sister or nearby country. But under normal circumstances, what kind of education are we given?
Sure.
There should be some kind of a documentary that it will be played in all the radios and the TV stations. That will help us.
Okay.
Nobody knows anything. You sit somewhere, somebody comes and say, "Oh, I'm leaving this bag here. I'll be right back." As Ghanaians as we are, and we think we are so hospitable, you will accept it and let the person leave it there. You see, but if it happens to a country like Nigeria, the person will just look at you, your face, and tell you that, "Please, I'm not ready, take it away." But we tend to be compromising with everything. So how many people are educated? How many people are literate in Ghana? And do we know where these people can attack us from? So please, let our security people educate the citizens so that we will know what to do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Very important point. The last person we'll speak to on this subject, Mohammed from Tamale. Mohammed, let's hear you. Kindly do it real quick for me.
Hello, Mama V, good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, thank you for this opportunity, and my regards to your host, your guest rather. Please, I want to talk about this issue of terror attack, and I want to also agree on the caller that said that at least we should look at this problem of terrorism beyond religious sect or a group of people. One of my brothers just called saying he's from America, and then you talk about how people use the word Allahu Akbar and when they attack. You know, people can easily use this word, not necessarily be Muslims. And if you look at the recent attacks in America, you know, when they attack, especially the schools children, and then the attack on the blacks, they mostly say people with psychiatric problems. It's not saying attack, a terrorist attack. So the attempt by the West media to actually categorize these issues of terrorism on one particular group, I think the fight will be far-fetched. You know, let's all reorientate our mind that terrorism is a crime, and we must put all hands on deck to actually fight terrorism.
Okay.
And to categorize and think that this particular group of people are for this. And if you look at the history of all these particular groups called Al Qaeda and then those things, if you look at the history and how they began, you realize that America and the West created this particular group for their own interests.
Okay, okay. Now you're bringing another bit of the conversation that we cannot justify, so we'll have to end it there. Mohammed from Tamale, thank you very much for your call. That's it for the phone calls that we'll pick. I'm wrapping up with some messages, and I'll let you wrap up your own words. It's time our police personnel stop taking bribes from drivers instead of inspecting to detect these terrorists and their movements. Can I read that message again? Otherwise, this may cause us great surprise. That's from Rabiu Kumase. So the police personnel, some of them who take bribes, you see them, they will stop the car all right, but they won't say, "I'm searching anything." They are interested in the money that you hand them, please, this is the time when we need you to do what you are standing by the roadside to do. So, Kumasi, thank you very much for the message that you've sent me. It's a great reminder. Lots of messages on this particular subject, but we have to wrap up. So.
All right, Kate, maybe two quick things. One is on the content, spoof content on site. I think the National Media Commission all have to come in strongly to develop guidelines that regulate the publishing of such content as they have when it comes to traditional media. That's a new media, and we need to have something on that. It's very important. On the issue of the terrorism, I think that also dominated the discussion. Well, I think it's good. All the callers have emphasized the need to dissociate terrorist act from religion. But if I am Muslim also, and somebody is using my name, my practices to terrorism, I have the most obligation to make sure there's problems. I want to see the Muslim community coming up, actually going after such people. It is very important. I think that will really address most of the problem, because they are tarnishing the image of the Muslim community, which is not fair. And they have to stand up, to collaborate with the state agencies, to address the issues.
Thank you. God bless you for being here. Thanks for sharing your thoughts with us. There are messages. The Chamber of Petroleum Consumers Ghana has hurriedly announced an increment in fuel prices, which takes effect at the pumps from Thursday, March 17, in response to a rise in crude oil prices. Somebody is forwarding this message to me like I didn't know. That is part of our discussions on AM Talk, which is right after this. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. Stay with us. Keep those messages coming through.